The old do not call themselves old. They call themselves dead. They call themselves forgotten and silent, the footprints made by water that evaporate and erase, leaving the ground thirsty for contact all over again. They call themselves banished, abandoned, invisible, the winter that welcomes no guests, though it pleads for them, clearing wide paths on street that grow white as bone, grieving its decomposed flesh. A wooden bench rots in the park without a story to tell. A leg bends at the knee without a church. And off in the distance, a body melts into the light like the final whisper from the dying man's mouth. Oh, sheets, give me more glorious buttercups that bleed. Oh, crow, morning's ubiquitous beggar, ask me for a piece of bread. Please, please, please. Oh, wall with a clock for a mole, I'll never again turn away from the sight of your 3 bristly hairs. But no one hears such supplications or notices the weakest of the weak wearing moths instead of buttons, knots of yarn instead of throats, and screwing bottle caps into their sockets to keep the milky eyes from leaking out. There's already a woman haunting the street with white feathers on her head, and when she cries, the tears harden on her cheeks like chicken shit. She gave birth to a son who broke like an egg beneath a military heel, and what a surprise to find out after all these years, she was a hen. She perches on a shoe at night and pretends it's an umbilical cord and not a lace. What a disgrace to flaunt her childlessness that way, complain the mothers who must scratch around the pictures of their decorated dead. Oh, rosary of baby teeth, oh, belly button crucifix in private. The fathers cluster at the bar to coat their battle scars with gin. One cradles a bottle of wine and tickles its label with his finger, while another tries to coax the cork into its neck. In the corner, 3 shadows rock side to side, murmuring a lullaby, and the bartender nods off into a dream, because at 55, he's the youngest in the village and sits closer to the memory of infancy than anyone. He'll climb atop your lap if it will make you chuckle. He'll let you share your kisses with a slice of pie. He'll even, but only for the price of a potato, let you watch him suck his thumb. No one judges him when he slips into his truck pajamas and begins to nest. In the village of missing sons, there are sadder scenes than that. The mayor scolding the mice for eating sugar and refusing to brush their teeth. The school teacher reading a fable to a row of coffee cups to usher them to sleep. The doctor's wife pinching her nipple numb over the orchid when it's time to feed. In every yard, tricycles rise like gravestones, and in the fall, the festival of raking leaves, an annual archaeological dig for a marble, a miniature wheel, or a plastic head of a doll, any toy at all that will prove that boys once inhabited the land. One day, a couple found a slingshot, and for a week they were crowned with the most coveted of artifacts, birthday party hats, sun-bleached and slightly bent on top, still celebrated symbols of the times of laughter. But before the couple gave them back, he shot her from behind, then shot himself, their blood sprinkled on the frosting of uneaten cake. No one wore the party hats again, and the people cursed the suicides for taking that away. And cursed the war with its appetite for adolescent hearts that still contract at the sight of partial nudity. Cursed the men who wrap their flags around their eyes to bind themselves to loyalty. Cursed the women who allow their sons to murder the other women's sons and call it victory. And in this village of the stupid and the blind, this curse. May you never know the magic of a child who can point and pierce a cloud, who can squint and cage the parakeet before it flees the house, who can bite into a cherry and roll the world inside his mouth, who can color in the autumn's brown, who can pinch the sun between 2 fingers and then, with childish mercy, let it out. May the miniatures inside your memories, little socks, little shoes, little belts and little gloves, pop like seeds and disperse into the wind. May the shrills of giggling, the shrieks of tantrums sink into the smiles of hoofprints filling up with mud. May the bite marks on your arms around the edges of the pastries lose their baby teeth and rot as you yourselves decay each childless day in the village of missing sons. May you call yourself extinct and collapse among the cribs turned rib cages, among the sticky tar pits that used to be the swimming pools. May your shadows vanish from the center outward and then roam their final hours as the outlines of neglect. In the village without a playground or a school, in the village where you drape your sagging skins across the windows for a last encounter with the fading light, in the village where bodies and buildings marry into rubble and can't even birth the dust, in the village without headstones, without history, without names, and without ghosts.